In a bright, minimalist gallery in Istanbul, a painting of a reclining nude hangs on a stark white wall. The work is quiet, contemplative. The air is still, save for the low murmur of the security guards. A visitor, maybe a student or a tourist, leans in, her eyes tracing the artist's brushstrokes. Close up, her face, captivated as she studies light and shadow on skin. But then a thought flickers. Is this allowed here? This is the big, complicated, and deeply personal question at the heart of Turkey's contemporary art scene. What's legal and what's not? The common assumption is that in a predominantly Muslim country, nude art is flat out illegal. Banned. Forbidden. End of story. But that's a myth. The reality is a messy, fascinating, and constantly shifting landscape. Celebrated in one city, seized in another. An artist's intention can be as important as the image itself. And a single complaint on social media can unravel months of planning. This isn't a straight clash of censorship versus freedom, negotiation, adaptation, quiet resilience.
Stay with me. We're peeling back the layers of what's allowed and what's not.
To understand the present, you have to look at the past. Turkey's artistic history is deep, complex, full of surprises. For centuries during the Ottoman Empire, figurative art and depictions of the human body existed, seen in intricate miniatures illustrating literary and historical texts. These were private works, kept in the palace, in elite homes, not displayed publicly. Public art followed more conservative norms. Then, in 1923, the Turkish Republic was founded. Under Ataturk, the nation embraced secularism. Modernism reshaped politics, culture, art. Artists went to Paris, to Berlin, absorbing European techniques. They returned with a new vision. Life drawing became central, painting the nude a core exercise, to study form, anatomy, light. Art schools taught it. The nude became a symbol of modernity, a break from the Ottoman past, a universal language. Pioneering artists centered the body. Galleries in Istanbul and Ankara showed these works. But acceptance was never absolute. As politics shifted, the pendulum swung. Exhibitions questioned, protests mobilized, shows shut down. A nude painting in Turkey is never just an image. It's a statement charged with a century of debate. So, what do the actual laws say? This is where things get tricky. If you're looking for a clear rule, nude paintings legal, nude photographs not, you won't find one. Turkey relies on broad obscenity provisions. Article 226 addressing müstehcenlik. It criminalizes production, sale, and public display of obscene material. The problem? The law doesn't say precisely what obscene means. It's open to interpretation. Decisions fall to prosecutors, judges, sometimes police responding to public complaints. Interpretations reflect personal views, political climate, and local standards. Praised in one district, criminal in another. This case-by-case system creates uncertainty, no clear precedent. Institutions use internal policies, avoid certain works or restrict access with warnings in 18-plus rooms. Independent galleries may take more risk, with buffers. Online, platform standards can be stricter than national law. Algorithms remove nude art, even classics. The law is one thing, the rules of the platform another. Nothing illustrates the legal tightrope better than real court cases. Trials become cultural flashpoints that ripple through the arts community. In 2011, sculptor Mehmet Aksoy's Statue of Humanity was labeled a monstrosity by the Prime Minister and demolished. Not a nude, but a warning about political power over art. Exhibitions with nude photography have faced investigations triggered by a single complaint. Even if dropped, the process is punishment. Time, money, negative publicity, harder venues, lost funding. Under Article 226, penalties include fines or suspended sentences, and a record that follows you. Courts lean on expert panels. Composition matters. Conservative academics can condemn. Liberal historians can clear. Key takeaway: uncertainty.
We want a clear answer, legal or not. But that single rule is a myth. Legality is fluid.
It depends on the artwork, intent, context, location, who complains, and which judge hears it. This unpredictability is the problem. So how do artists and curators actually work within this environment? They adapt, they strategize, they take calculated risks. Studios become sanctuaries for life drawing, experimentation, creation. Some keep practice private, appointment-only circles. That insulates from complaints, but limits audience and impact. Public exhibitors frame context, detailed statements, academic anatomy, emotion, social commentary. Some use abstraction, blurring, or partial covering to tread the line. For curators, placement is a chess match. Entrance versus backroom, soft lighting, narrative sequencing. Tools: warnings, 18+, wall texts. Our job is to create a space for dialogue, not for shock, one curator said. Often, lawyers review catalogs before opening. Sometimes a work is pulled at the last minute. Indie spaces are the lifeblood and the most vulnerable, yet they keep the scene courageous.
Their gambit keeps the conversation alive.
Law is one piece. Societal and religious views are another. In a nation of 85+ million, opinions vary. Large secular audiences view nude art like at the Louvre or Uffizi: beauty, skill, expression. Others, from devout communities, see public nudity as inappropriate, a modesty violation. One image online can spark viral outrage within hours. Networks, media, politicians amplify. Complaints surge, authorities feel pressure, police say they respond to reports, which multiply online. A smooth run can end overnight after a social storm. Artists and curators become PR managers, anticipating backlash, choosing to engage, defend, or go quiet. Viewing art is no longer private. It's entangled with the public gaze.
So who decides? Sometimes, the loudest voice online.
Yeah. In this complex landscape, the path forward unfolds on two fronts: the global digital stage and the intimate human level. Online offers reach beyond local gatekeepers. Exhibit virtually, even abroad. Too risky at home? Try a virtual Berlin show or private, passworded sites. Global connection brings validation and income. But digital freedom is fragile. Platforms act as de facto censors. Artists play cat and mouse with policies, cropping, stickers, close-ups. Still, many seek local audiences and keep exhibiting at home. The future may not be decided in courtrooms or boardrooms, but in quiet encounters between viewer and work. A viewer feels curiosity, empathy, admiration, even discomfort. Art starts conversations, even internal ones. It prompts questions about bodies, beliefs, and the rules we live by. Artist intent, curator context, viewer history. The human element is the heart. Nude art in Turkey lives in managed ambiguity, not simply legal or illegal. Survival depends on context, intent, and careful negotiation. Artists adapt methods. Curators plan cautiously. Lawyers defend case by case. The scene evolves as conversations spread and more people encounter art.
Final thought? The law gives rules. Art asks questions. Both shape what ends up on the wall.
Art asks, law replies, people decide.
What will you think? If this gave you a clearer view, subscribe for more deep dives.